Jackson Colderup will kick it off for Case. Back deep to field the kick. Raekwon Wright and Shaq Ellis. It is Wright on the near side, Ellis on the far side. When Bethany takes the field, we will see if they'll have their starting quarterback. A game-time decision today for Chase Kinnemund, the senior from Shadyside, Ohio. It is a short kick from Colderup, and it's fielded at about the 12-yard line. Taken out to the right. Lots of room down that right sideline for Raekwon Wright, and he gets pretty good field position for the Bison. Past the 40-yard line. They'll spot it directly at the 40-yard line where he was taken down and run out.
Yeah, and Raekwon Wright is definitely going to be their most dangerous ball carrier on this roster. A multi-purpose halfback who can catch passes out of the backfield and is the leading rusher. And pretty much any time he touches the ball, he's good for about 4.5 to 5 yards per run from the line of scrimmage. And also right there, pretty worthy adversary in terms of returning kickoffs. So pretty good starting field position for the Bison as they try to take advantage here on the opening drive of the game.
And as they break the huddle, they will break it without Chase Kinnemund. Carlin Bison, the sophomore from Gaithersburg, Maryland, will lead this offense from right to left. The first play from scrimmage is a handoff to the left. Once again, it's Wright, and he is wrapped up by Justin McMahon from inside linebacker.
And that's the leading tackler on this Spartans linebacking core, Justin McMahon. And the Spartans already have 4 players that have 20-plus tackles or better on the season, and he's leading the charge right there. Definitely a fast start for the Spartans defense attacking the ball carrier.
A 7-yard loss backed up to the 38-yard line. 2nd and 17 to go. Another handoff. Not much.
Well, and Andrew, I think we're going to see a lot from Carlin Bison, as we would see from Chase Kinnemund, a mobile quarterback. This is a team that really likes to get out and run from the quarterback position, but there Cameron Brown chasing the ball carrier down. The Spartans definitely have a couple of guys spying after the quarterback in terms of the mobility that those two guys bring. So definitely an asset to the Spartan defense to be equipped with speed to keep up with a mobile quarterback.
So Bison will run it as he did there. Chase Kinnemund, 81 rushing attempts on the year. They're going to run a similar offense with Bison. He'll step up and try to throw on 3rd and long, and he will be wrapped up. They got a couple yards, but Cameron Brown takes him down, and it's 4th down.
Yeah, Cameron Brown is one of the quickest defensive ends that the conference has to offer, and probably one of the faster players on the entire Spartans defense right there. Their big hole opened up the middle for Bison. He saw some daylight, but ultimately just gets back to the original line of scrimmage on 3rd and long.
Now Kinnemund is also the regular punter, so with him out, Anthony Fiasco will do the punting. Justin Fan is back. Fiasco with a line drive punt, fielded at about the 14-yard line. Fan knifes back up the middle, out to the 30. Tackle made by Baker Benier. So Rob Kuda getting set for his first drive of the afternoon on homecoming day. Kuda last week passed for 4 touchdowns to 4 different receivers, ran for 1, tying Dan Whalen's quarterback rushing touchdown program record, and a career-high 357 passing yards for Kuda. He'll set up with 3 wide, Burke and Aguilar in the backfield. The give is to Burke, off left tackle. He'll push forward and get about 6 yards. A good run for Burke after initial contact.
And a lot of reasons for the late success of Rob Kuda has been in the running game. The Spartans' rushing attack really setting up those deep balls, but Burke has been playing some of the best football of his career in the last couple of weeks, and he's gone well over 5 yards a carry in that span, and he has just been getting the job done on the ground.
You get a look at the offensive line with Gage Blair back under center. Another give up the middle. That'll set up 3rd down and short. 3rd and 1 from the 39 is the spot. Well, Blair is back, but they did lose one of their main men. The left guard, Ryan DeMarinis, is out. So Thomas Strayer, who has been the center in Blair's stead ever since week 2, has shifted over from center to left guard. 3rd and 1 from the 39. The Spartans with a 44% conversion percentage on 3rd down. They'll get another one. Kuda on the keeper.
Yeah, and Kuda really did not have to scramble with the football much at all in their win last week, but he does here. This is mostly because the play dictated it. He did have a little bit of green grass to his right, working to get that first down, but that's going to be a really good thing for the Spartans going forward. Keep Rob Kuda fresh and limit the hits on your senior quarterback.
This time a handoff to Burke. Boy, they are loving the running game so far. About a pickup of 5 on first down.
Yeah, it's really just a winning combination when you've got Burke back there at 210 pounds. You got Aaron Aguilar just short of 190. That's, you know, a really good amount of size and muscle that you got between your fullback and running back. Just a very tough tandem to bring down.
Well, last year Jacob Burke manhandled this Bethany defense as well. A career-high 193 yards and 2 touchdowns. He'll get the give again on 2nd and 3, and he'll get near the sticks. Should be 3rd down and maybe a yard to go.
You know, and Andrew, going back to Gage Blair and Thomas Strayer, you know, those guys know each other pretty well. You know, Gage playing at St. Edwards and Strayer being a mentor Cardinal, so they have competed against each other before, and now their teammates getting to line up alongside each other as Strayer moves from center to guard in the absence of DeMarinis.
Now Burke plunging toward the sticks, and it looks like he has enough by about half a yard. Another 3rd down pickup back-to-back, and the chains keep moving. Nothing through the air yet for Rob Kuda. It's all been on the ground. They'll go hurry up, 3 wide. Whitty and Fan on the far side, Hurt on the near. They will fake the pass, hand it off to Burke again. He gets about 2.
A lot of green helmets getting to the line of scrimmage early there. So Bethany definitely knows what the Spartans' game plan is going to be in terms of the rush. It's going to be mostly in between the tackles. So they know where they have to get. It's just a matter of execution for those Bison at this point. And thus far on 1st and 2nd down, they've done okay. But the Spartans luckily have been able to convert on 3rd down, which is a big reason for their offensive success here this year.
Bethany plays a 4-3, led in the middle by Will Gatling, the 5th. He's the inside linebacker, leading the team with 50 tackles coming into today. Kuda will pass for the first time, over the middle for Hurd, bounces off a tackle and gets the first down. How about Zach Hurd?
And we are so used to Hurd running those deep routes because he's 3rd in the NCAA Division III, about 32 yards a catch, but this is a much shorter route than what we're used to from him, but he's able to catch the ball with one man over the top and make that catch as we have an injured Bison on the field.
John Lee, the sophomore free safety from Worthington, Ohio, is down. He was the man that Hurd bounced off of. It looked like he just got stung and rattled as those two came together as soon as the ball arrived from Rob Kuda. So Lee being tended to by the athletic trainer, Abby Horde, and her 2 assistants. He'll be helped off the field. He is clutching one of his wrists, it looks like. So I suppose that is good news because the initial prognosis, at least from up here, looked to be potentially well, you don't want to say a head injury, but a whiplash type situation. And him getting up and holding another part of his body is a good sign that it wasn't him getting stung. So they take him to the sideline. Keandre Murphy checks in his stead. First down and 10 from the 28, scoreless in the first quarter. 9 minutes remaining. Kuda will step up, looking to pass again. Going right side, too far. Tipped by Lee Sanders. The intended target on the pass was Giuseppe Orsini.
The Bison only put 3 men down on the line of scrimmage, just rushing 3 and dropping everybody else back. So that time they were prepared for the pass because they know the damage that Rob Kuda can do with a deep ball, especially to a guy like Zach Hurd. as I just mentioned, averaging well over 30 yards per reception.
So the Spartans started this game all on the ground. They've gone 2 through the air in a row. Aguilar will shift over. They'll dump it off right side to Miles. Anthony has some room down the right sideline. Anthony has the first down and a run out inside the 10. Flag is down at the 24-yard line. That might be a hold.
And we may actually see it right there in the picture, number 79, pulling him down right there. But that's a really good game plan for the Spartans, giving the ball to Miles Anthony in the passing game. I mean, that's a guy who can really do a lot of damage when he catches the football out of the backfield, and every now and then you get him involved in the running game. He's a very dynamic little player at that second running back slot on the depth chart.
Steve Bocci, the right tackle out of Berea Mid-Park, gets flagged. We're going to take a moment. It appears that Joseph Fiasco had his helmet loose, and so they will make him come off. Gabriel Baracus will check in for him. Baracus, the freshman from Miami, defensive end. They'll set up with 3 down linemen now. 2nd and 16 from the 34. That's Anthony in the backfield and 4 wide. Anthony picks up a block, thrown over the middle for Chase Whitty. They've got the first down inside the 15.
Well, you got to put a lot of emphasis on guarding the guys on the outside, and sometimes you forget about the slot receiver, and Rob Kuda loves to use that slot receiver if he is available over the middle, and he was. You see 2 white uniforms bringing him down after the catch, but definitely a great scheme. Kuda able to find the open man every time over the middle.
Spitali on the near side, Hurd and DiFrancesco on the far. Burke in the backfield with Aguilar. The give is to Burke off left tackle. Gets a couple. Taken down by Nate Daniels, the junior from Crooksville, Ohio.
And the Spartans that time are running in the direction of a pretty darn good Bison's defensive player, Khalid Pierce, on that side of the line, leading the charge with 4 sacks on the season and 7 tackles for a loss. He is 3rd all-time in program history in terms of sacks with 23.5. So Spartans' offensive line knows that they have to make sure that he does not get to Rob Kuda today.
Burke shifts over. Kuda steps up, pressure coming, rolls out, and too short in search of Colton Morgan, looking for his first career touchdown. But it's in the turf, and it's 3rd down and 9 to go.
Well, ultimately, this results in a 3rd down play as just an incompletion. But, I mean, if you take a look at the pressure that was coming at Rob Kuda, I mean, most other quarterbacks in this league probably would have taken a sack right there. But Kuda, with his agility and his ability to escape the pressure, that gave the Spartans another chance here on 3rd down and prevented another sack.
The Spartans have converted 77% of the time in the red zone this year. That's down to the corner, incomplete, looking for DiFrancesco. Spartans want a flag, they won't get it. That's good coverage in that back left corner of the end zone by Bakir Banir, and it's 4th down.
Yeah, it was. That was textbook. That's textbook coverage by Bakir Banir, disenabling a would-be touchdown for the Spartans, so they'll have another decision to make here. I mean, you're only 9 yards out, but this is a Spartans unit that has been very aggressive on 4th down.
Well, Ben Carniol is out for the kick. He has not attempted a field goal yet this year. Hasn't had to very often. Hasn't been put in this situation. Be about a 30-yarder. And it is through. So Case on the board first. They drive it down mostly on the ground. And Ben Carniol notches his first field goal of the year to put the Spartans on top against Bethany.
Inova Living is a modern, amenity-rich residential community located in Cleveland's Greater University Circle neighborhood, offering studio, 1- and 2-bedroom apartment homes. Enjoy all-inclusive living with convenient on-site shopping, 24-hour concierge services, a 24-hour fitness center, resident lounge, and more. All within close proximity to Case Western Reserve University. Inova Living online at inovaliving.com.
3-0 Spartans on the kick by Ben Carnial, officially a 30-yarder and his first field goal of the year. So the Spartans drive it down on 14 plays, 57 yards. And they get the score. Jackson Colder up on the kickoff. This is Raekwon Wright again from about his own 1-yard line. And runs out at about the 22. The drive lasts 7 minutes and 22 seconds for the Spartans. Their first offensive drive of the afternoon. And now Carlin Bison will start the offense once again. And it was an offense that didn't have much going for it in the first drive, Eddy. A quick punt by Anthony Fiasco.
Yeah, and Andrew, Carlin Bison is going to have a lot on his plate today. Probably not going to get too much help from his running game today because this is a Spartans front seven that only allows just north of 70 yards on the ground per game. So Bethany's going to have to look to make some big plays if they're going to put some points on the board.
They'll run it to Wright in the backfield. He's taken down for a big loss. Channon Demery comes in and makes the tackle.
Yeah, and it's good instincts by Channon Demery coming right to the line of scrimmage. He recognized immediately that it was a run, and nothing the Bisons could do right there. Just a very good scheme set up by defensive coordinator Warren Miller, calling all the right plays at the right times for Case Western.
2nd and 16, the ball backed up to the 16-yard line. Bison goes 3 wide. Fakes the handoff, now rolls out, now he'll tuck and run. Pretty good yardage so far, now he'll bounce it out to the left. He might have first down yardage out to the 32-yard line, and the sticks are at the 33. No, the sticks at the 32, so that's right at the line to gain. And it'll move the chains.
Wow, this is a really impressive run by Carlin Bison. I mean, right there, he jukes it back to the inside and is able to get more yardage after that. I think he probably would have been happy with the yardage he would have gotten had he not cut it back to the inside, but he goes the extra mile and gains an extra mile all the way to a first down territory.
Abe Lyles and Shaq Ellis on the far side. Eddy Wincoop, one of the 2 receivers on the near. They hand it off up the middle. And a short gain. A 16-yard gain for Carlin Bison. What an athlete he is. The sophomore from Gaithersburg, Maryland.
And Andrew, that's actually not his season long on the year. He's ran a big broker for 22 yards. So this is a quarterback guy who really brings some athleticism to the position. So the Spartans linebacking core definitely going to have to keep an eye on him as he will be tracking down all over the field today with his mobility.
4 wide once again for Bethany. 2nd and 10 from the 32. Bison going deep for Ellis. Hand checking by Mangwende, and it's out of bounds. Caught by Ellis, but in the white paint. Incomplete, and it's 3rd down.
Well, if this is any consolation prize to Shaq Ellis, this is an excellent catch. It really looked like he would have had a chance to get at least 1 foot in bounds, but they say no. Right in front of the Spartan sideline right there. All the Spartan players got a pretty good look at that and agreed with the call there.
Munyaradzi Mangwende was being a pest to Shaq Ellis. He didn't turn around to look at the football, but what he did was he pretty much painted Ellis into a corner and forced him out. So 3rd and 10 from the 32. Bison will pass again. Over the middle, 1 tackle broken, and that's a first down, but the ball is loose on the turf. The Spartans think they have it. And they've got it. The ball coughed up by Hunter Klein, and Case picks up good field position on the turnover.
Well, he puts the ball on the spot to his receiver right there, but the ball clearly ripped loose by the Spartan defense. That's another excellent job of individual defense. That's one of our favorite guys, Cody Calhoun, the senior free safety, doing what most of the good DBs really look to do when you have a chance to, is to try to rip the ball loose if you can, and he pried it out of there. And Cody Calhoun forcing another turnover for the Sharks, the defensive backs as we know them by the Spartans.
5:07 left in the first quarter. 3-0 the lead for Case. Aguilar splits out all the way to the right. Burke the lone man in the backfield. Kuda looks left. Good ball for Fan. A little bit too far. Just out of his reach. Coverage over the top by Keandre Murphy.
Yeah, defenses typically tend to bite their nails when you go 4 or 5 wide in this Spartan offense, and Justin Fan did have a step or two on his defensive assignment right there, but just a little too much mustard on that throw from Kuda, but at least he led Fan in the right direction.
Medved on the far side along with Fan. Hurt on the near. Handoff up the middle for Jacob Burke.
Yeah, it's going to be really imperative for the Spartans' ground game to continue to have success, because that's what's going to open up the deep ball for Rob Kuda. And Kuda really had thrown some of his best long throws really in his career in the last couple games, but most of that due to the early success of Burke in the ground game, but need 5 yards here.
3rd and 5 from the 37. Kuda looks right, too tall for Fan. In and out of his hands, and then the hit was made by Anthony Fiasco, jarring the ball loose. I don't think Fan ever had it to begin with. 4th down and 5 from the 37, and the punt unit comes out. Quinn Salwan will do the honors.
Well, and I think that's probably the one limitation that Justin Fan does have at only 5'8" and 155 pounds. Doesn't really have as long a reach as most receivers at this level might have, but that throw just not quite on the spot.
That one into the end zone. Raekwon Wright let that one go. Quinn Salwan trying for a little coffin corner. He's been really good this year in his freshman campaign. His now 14th punt of the year, and half of those have been inside the 20. But that one goes for touchback. And so Bethany will set up again. The Spartans with a narrow 3-0 lead. Carlin Bison, the backup quarterback, leading the offense for Bethany. And he has led it pretty well so far. Last drive was stalled on a fumble by Hunter Klein. But the Spartans couldn't get the offense going. They went out quickly. 1st and 10 from the 20, right in the backfield, and a shotgun snap for Bison. 4 wide, Bison drops back. Pressure coming from the edge, so Bison steps up, and he is wrapped up by McMahon. Just got his feet, but that's about an 8-yard gain for the quarterback.
I think that Bethany is probably going to go with a formation similar to that for the vast majority of the afternoon, mostly because it gives a couple extra steps to Carlin Bison to avoid the pressure that is inevitably going to come from the Spartan, the defensive line of the Spartans. So definitely a good job by him to step up in the pocket and recognize the run and set up a manageable 2nd down situation.
Yeah, they go with that spread, and all of a sudden, Bison has a little room to work. It's a 7-yard gain, 2nd and 3 from the 27. Bison will run it again. Cutting it back, juking around. 3 men in on that tackle. McMahon, Crossy, as well as Andrew Benathi. 1-yard gain, 3rd and 2.
Yeah, you just look at the defensive stat sheet and you just continue to be impressed with the ball tackling abilities of this Spartan unit. You've got coming into today, McMahon 21 tackles, Habib 20, Benathi 20, Dan Techman 20. I mean, there's so many guys that can just get to the ball carrier in any given situation when you're in the open field or between the tackles.
A little bit more of a jumbo set. Jacob Quinn and Tom Galbraith check in. They will pitch it out to the right. Big time loss, backed up to the 20-yard line. Alex Habib on the tackle, and it's 4th down.
And the senior Alex Habib, of those 20 tackles he had prior to today, 13 of them were all on his own, and that is no exception right there. He just froze the ball carrier right in his tracks, making a big play on 3rd down, and this is a Spartans defense that thrives on big plays, and anytime you get a stop on 3rd and manageable, that, in my book, would be a big play.
So the punt by Fiasco is a line drive one that flubs off his laces and goes out at midfield. So the Spartans will have it officially from just inside Bethany territory at the Bison 49-yard line. It's been a defensive struggle so far, Eddie, through the first few possessions.
Yeah, it certainly has, Andrew, and we haven't yet seen the Spartans be as aggressive as we normally do see them. They've been a little bit relaxed in terms of the running game, but they have been making some headway, do have a couple of first downs, and obviously do have 3 points on the board. But I think what they're going with at the moment is trying to have the run set up the long pass so that Kuda can get some time back there.
Zach Hall now checks in the backfield with Aguilar. They will give to Hall on the sweep. Good block by Aguilar. Hall spins off a tackle and then gets absolutely stuck by Will Gatling.
Yeah, and the Bison definitely have a dominant run stopper of their own, and that young junior right there, Will Gatling, averaging 10 tackles per game and has a league best 26 solo tackles. So that's a young man right there that can definitely get the job done on his own in terms of bringing down would-be ball carriers.
It's a 2-yard gain, 2nd and 8 from the 47. Under 2 minutes to play in the first quarter, and the Spartans up 3-0. They fake the run, screen out to Fan, shifts 1 tackle, gets himself a couple, got around the initial contact by Anthony Fiasco, and it took a couple of white shirts to bring him down.
It usually does take at least 2 players to get to Justin Fan, but that bubble screen I thought was played pretty well overall by the Bisons, just leaning towards that side of the field, and they definitely know what was coming, at least on that possession they did. And really the vast majority of the routes ran by Justin Fan are going to be those bubble screens. The blocking wasn't quite good enough to get the first, but it is 3rd and manageable.
3rd and 2 from the 41. Burke up the middle. First down and twisted down at the 25.
Yeah, and he signals first down right at the end of that play right there, and running left in between Gage Blair and Thomas Strayer. Nobody really touches him until he gets well beyond the first down marker, and there's just a lot of white jerseys in the area, but it's going to take that many guys to bring down Burke.
Handoff Burke again, hurdles a tackle out to the 20. 35 seconds remaining in the first quarter, and in just seconds, Eddie, we will send it down to the field. At the end of this first quarter, the Spartans will honor the 2007 to 2009 teams, some of the best teams in Spartan program history, led by Dan Whalen, who dots the Spartan record book, one of the best quarterbacks in program history, if not the best, certainly is statistically. So they will honor those teams in a matter of seconds. 2nd and 6 from the 21. Kuda to Spitali. Ball came loose, incomplete. They'll get one more play in the quarter. 1 second remaining. And it's 3rd down and 6.
Well, I think the only thing that had this play result in an incomplete pass was 2 defenders at the right place at the right time, and they just sandwiched him right in the middle there. I think more often than not, that probably would have resulted in a catch for the junior Joey Spitali. But again, Kuda putting the ball on the right spot, but have not been able to get Kuda in a rhythm just yet in the passing game. That's what's kept this game close.
3rd and 6 from the 21 on the last play of the first quarter. The handoff is to Burke. Powers his way toward the sticks, and he's got a first down to end the first quarter. How about that? Dragging tacklers, and the Spartans, when we start the second stanza, will have good field position and a 3-0 lead against Bethany, setting up first down. But for now, it is time to send it on down to the field where the Spartans will honor Dan Whalen's bunch, the 2007 to 09 Spartan football teams.
Ladies and gentlemen, we ask that you please draw your attention to the field at the 50-yard line for a special recognition. Today, we are joined by members of the 2007, 2008, and 2009 football teams at Case Western Reserve University. During those years, the Spartans experienced their greatest success as a team, recording 3 straight undefeated regular seasons, winning 3 UAA championships, and going to the NCAA playoffs each of the years. Head coach Craig Debelak and his staff were named to the UAA Coaching Staff of the Year each of the 3 years, while Dan Whalen, Tom Brew, Bobby Bott, and Jeff Brown all received UAA Player of the Year honors during the stretch. The group has left an enduring legacy on the CWRU program, and we are proud to have them back with us today celebrating homecoming. Ladies and gentlemen, please join us in welcoming back members of the Case Western Reserve University football teams from 2007, 2008, and 2009.
Well, that was a happy-looking bunch. The 2007 to 09 Spartans honored, and now we start the second quarter. Case on the 15 of the Bison, 1st and 10 after a good run by Jacob Burke, picking up the first down on 3rd and 6. 3-0 Case. That's Anthony in the backfield with Aguilar. Kuda drops back. He looks left corner. Touchdown! Adam Zipko with his first TD of the season, and the Spartans take a 9-0 lead.
And Rob Kuda's looking at the left side of the field the entire time, favoring one target. That's the guy who's running the route to the back of the end zone, and Kuda just puts it in a perfect spot for the 6'4" Adam Zipko. You know, we mentioned it earlier on in the season, a sophomore 6'4" tight end. He's going to be a red zone weapon, and it was only a matter of time before Kuda was going to go to him.
So Ben Carniol on the point after touchdown. Right through the uprights. He's been almost perfect all year, has Carniol, 22 of 23. The only miss was blocked, and the Spartans with a 10-0 lead. After the touchdown pass to Adam Zipko, the very first play from scrimmage in the second quarter, Eddy, a 15-yard strike, and Rob Kuda has career passing touchdown number 61.
Yeah, it's been a very prolific career for Rob Kuda, and you know, you consider that probably by the end of his career, he's going to be the number 2 quarterback in many passing categories, including passing yards and touchdowns, but just that rare combination of the ability to throw the ball and the ability to run the ball. Just an amazing feat for Kuda, knowing that he's going to finish in the top 10 in both passing and rushing. So Kuda just continuing to get better. I think that's the most impressive part, that he just continues to improve upon himself week after week, and he just continues to take his game to the next level.
Quinn Salwan will kick this away instead of Calder up. That ball is fumbled by Raekwon Wright, and he will smother it at about the 23-yard line. Wow. It was a very short kick, with Salwan, usually the punter, kicking it away instead of Jackson Calderup, who usually handles the kickoff duties. And Wright didn't exactly look in control of his movements as he was running up to make that catch, and it almost cost him dearly.
Well, I'll tell you what, Andrew, I think also Spartans probably kicking it into the wind, so that probably played a factor as well. And, you know, it's definitely not a situation I would want to be in, fielding a kick where you have the wind angled against you as well. Definitely easier said than done there, but Bethany falls on it.
Bison passes too high out to the left, looking for Shaq Ellis. It's incomplete. So Carlin Bison getting the start at quarterback this week. Last week, he was 3 of 4, 1 touchdown, 35 yards. The regular starter, Chase Kinnemond, the senior from Shadyside, Ohio, was a game-time decision, but was out. We didn't find out officially until they broke the huddle for the first drive. Big sack, Cameron Brown steps up. Nowhere for Bison to go, and it's 3rd down.
There's another player that just continues to get better on a week-to-week basis, and Cameron Brown, using his speed in this 3-4 scheme, is just really impossible to stop. And more often than not, you've got one of your best tackles going up against him, but Cameron Brown usually just finds a way to get around the offensive line and sniff out the quarterback in any given situation.
And that was a mismatch because instead of a tackle, he had to get around the running back, Raekwon Wright, and Brown will do that 9 times out of 10. Bison on 3rd and 13, rolls out, passes near side, incomplete, right through the hands of the intended target, Blake Lipke, who just dropped it, and it's 4th down.
Yeah, definitely don't want to put the blame on Harlan Bison right there, but I mean, considering the time that they've been able to give him, back in the pocket, he's looked pretty spot on with his throws, but just not getting a whole lot of help from his receiving core at the moment. But I tell you what, if he continues to be aggressive, he'll probably find his groove at some point in this game.
So 3 and out, and Fan is back again to receive the punt from Fiasco. Another low line drive directly at Fan, gets around the first pursuer, shifts another tackle out past midfield to the 45-yard line.
Just really exciting any time that Justin Fan has enough room to work with and get to return a punt or a kickoff or whatever it may be. But anytime he gets his hands on the football, I mean, you sit back and watch, and it's just a lot of fun watching Justin Fan with his speed and agility. One of the most unique sets of skills on this Spartans team.
10-0 Spartans. They scored on their last drive. A touchdown pass to Adam Zipko. Medved and Hurd on the near side, the only 2 wide receivers in the formation. This is Mason G. Montgomery in the backfield. He will get the handoff. He's a quarterback. He'll pass it out to Kuda, and the ball right through his hands. A little wrinkle. Mason G. Montgomery lining up in the backfield along with Aguilar to the right hip, and the lefty quarterback lost his footing before the pass. Out to Kuda.
Yeah, and had he not thrown that ball off of his back foot, I think the ball may have been able to get there a little bit quicker, and maybe that results in a rare reception for Rob Kuda. But, good job by the Bison's defense that time. But the Spartans going deep into the playbook there and really making the defense think.
Handoff for Burke up the middle, knifes through and upended about 2 yards shy of the yard to gain.
That's really the only way to take down Jacob Burke. If you're going to do it single-handedly, you just have to aim low because you're not going to win the battle with him in the upper body portion.
3rd down and short. Burke very close. Looks like they'll spot him with just enough.
There's just too much strength in the upper body of Jacob Burke. I mean, he's a guy who really prefers to lower his shoulder. He doesn't do it when he has to. I mean, he prefers to do it to try to put a beating on opposing linebackers, and more often than not, it gets a favorable result for the Spartans in their ground game.
We told you a career high 193 yards for him on the ground last time he faced off against this Bethany defense. He's in the backfield on 1st and 10 from the 34, and he'll get it again, but he is knocked down in a hurry. Will Gatling right there. 50 tackles coming into today to lead the team. And Burke ran into his number mate and a brick wall to set up 2nd down and 10.
And this is a guy in Jacob Burke. They did run the ball with him 11 times in the first quarter, so maybe a little early wear and tear on Jacob Burke. But the thing that has made him so successful this year is his durability. I think that's the best improvement for Burke from year 3 to year 4. They just don't take him off the field because of his durability.
Kuda stepping up around pressure, looking deep, and Hurd wasn't on the same page. Looked like an option route for Hurd, and he went in when Kuda was looking to the left corner. Keandre Murphy in coverage, and it's 3rd down and 10.
That's really an emerging superstar in terms of being a great target for Kuda and Zach Hurd. Really one of the fastest guys on the field. A track star and a multi-sport athlete, and a guy who can burst into the secondary, and guy who, if you give him some agility, he can really beat just about anybody in the defensive backfield.
The Perry High School record holder in the long jump and the 100-meter dash, Mr. Hurd. This is Fan on the bubble screen. Not enough. Let's see if this is a spot, though, where the Spartans will go for it on 4th down. It's kind of that no man's land part of the field, and 4th and manageable. Well, the offense is staying out there. It would lead you to believe that that is the case.
Yep.
4th and 4 from the 28.
Yeah, I would have to believe if it's anything 3 yards or less, this is going to be an opportunity for the Spartans to cash in on 4th down. But they're going to need 4 now, so let's see if they draw something up.
That's Anthony in the backfield, 4 wide, and they'll call a timeout. Maybe they were trying to draw Bethany offside there at first, or take a look at what the defense was giving them. But this is a spot where I do think they will still go for it on 4th down. They usually will not give Carnival a kick attempt greater than about 33, 34 yards. His career long is 36, and the Spartans very much trust their offense to get 4 yards. And if they can't get it, then, well, still have pretty nominal field position for Bethany.
Yeah, you know, definitely looking at the situation, and you say, why not roll the dice? I mean, you've got, the UAA MVP from a season ago. You got one of the better short yardage backs in this conference, and when you throw all that into the mix with one of the greatest offensive lines that this conference has to offer, I mean, that's a pretty favorable situation. And we've seen about 3 4th down attempts for the Spartans per game, and I think this is definitely going to be one of them here, where they are approaching the red zone but just not quite there yet.
Burke will check back in. Similar set, 4 wide. Kuda reading the defense. Now he'll drop back. Looking deep, left side, Medved! Just shy of the end zone, down at the 1. But a 1st down, they convert.
And I'm not sure if they spotted him at the 1 because somebody got a hand on him or because he slid with that knee down to the ground, but that's a beautiful throw by Kuda, throwing it to the left shoulder of the target right there, putting it in a spot where only his man can make a play on it, and that is a big-time play for Case Western Reserve, putting them just shy of the end zone.
1st and goal from the 1. Hand off to Burke. He's upended. He did not get in. Second down and short. 2nd down and less than a yard to go. They're inside the 1. Kuda plunging forward. Touchdown! Rob Kuda has just surpassed Dan Whalen for the most rushing touchdowns by a Spartan quarterback in program history. Number 22, and the man whose record he broke is on hand today for homecoming.
Boy, and I'll tell you what, so many rushing touchdowns for Kuda in his 2nd and 3rd year. This is just his 2nd of this year, but it was only his 2nd that got him into the record book. So that just speaks to the success that Kuda has had rushing the ball over the years, getting it into the end zone.
Carnival's kick makes it a 17-0 Spartan lead. Rob Kuda, first he converts on 4th down on the pass to Medved, and then he breaks Dan Whalen's quarterback rushing touchdown record. Back-to-back weeks with rushing touchdowns for Kuda, number 22 in his storied career. So this has been a fun career to watch for Rob Kuda. About halfway through his final season now. And with Dan Whalen on hand today, gives us some time to reflect on 2 of the best quarterback careers in this program's history. Whalen, the all-time passing touchdown, passing yards leader, leading his team to 3 undefeated regular seasons. Rob Kuda looking for an undefeated campaign this year. Raekwon Wright having all sorts of trouble on the kickoff again. He'll pick it up, though. Running out to the left, Mangwende trips him up at the 10-yard line. But Munyaradzi is down. And holding on to his left side. They're going to call for the trainer. Wright fumbles, another kickoff. And you watch him get chased down by Joshua Smith and then by Munyaradzi Mangwende. And when he flipped over, it looked like he's holding his left wrist. So they will tend to Mangwende. Jessica White, the head trainer for the Spartans, having a look at the sophomore from Baltimore, Maryland, who stepped in nicely today and played kind of a matchup corner role, which we haven't seen much from him this year. He's been used later in a lot of games this year for Warren Miller's defense, but he's taken on more responsibility this afternoon. And on a special teams play, he goes down chasing Raekwon Wright and taking him down. Bethany will be set up with poor field position. They're going to spot it at the 11 after the tackle by Mangwende.
And just a little bit of miscommunication on the return from Bethany there. I think that's probably what set up the field position for them. But I mean, these are the types of little things that, you know, whether you're Bethany or anybody that's coming into this building, those are definitely some things that you'll have to eliminate the week before in practice, because, I mean, you really don't want to face a defense that's only allowing 70 yards on the ground a game and just over about 150 yards through the air a game, which is, you know, stout numbers. But you know, they definitely want to eliminate those mistakes as much as they can, because now they're just going to basically have to go the length of the field, almost 90 yards, if they want to put any points on the board, as they're still tending to the injured Spartan on the far side of the field.
The Spartans come into today with the 17th best defense in all of Division III in terms of total yards allowed per game, the 15th best in terms of rushing yards allowed per game, under 72 rushing yards allowed per contest. And they have been very good so far today. But one of their matchup corners is down on the turf. Take a look at some of the numbers for the Spartans today, how many tackles for a loss they have. 4 tackles for a loss thus far in the game against Bethany. So that speaks to what you're talking about, Eddie, with how good they have been up front and how difficult it has been for Bethany to get the run game going as they bring the stretcher over for Mangwende. Still down on that far sideline where he made the tackle on Raekwon Wright. 10:48 to go in the second quarter, in the first half, and a 17-0 Spartan lead. Most recent score on the rushing touchdown by Rob Kuda, who's now run for 1 and passed for 1 today.
And as you can see, definitely one of the first personnel tending to the injured Spartan there is head coach Greg Debelak. I think it really speaks volumes when your head coach shows a lot of concern for your players, and he was one of the first ones out there.
Well, as Mangwende is tended to, let's take a look at that touchdown pass to Zipko, number 61 in the career of Rob Kuda, passing touchdown number 61 in his terrific career. Now 22 touchdowns on the ground for him as well. Helping the Spartans to a 17-0 lead today as they try to remain undefeated. Let's take a look at what's going on in the important game that the Spartans will be watching between the other 2 undefeated teams in the pack, Carnegie Mellon and Washington and Jefferson. Coming into today, CMU 5-0, 3-0 in the PAC. Washington and Jefferson 1 spot above the Spartans in the national rankings at 16th. They are 4-0 overall, 2-0 in the PAC. If the Spartans have their way, they want Carnegie Mellon to win this game because Case does not play Washington and Jefferson, so to have their fate in their own hands means that they would like to have Carnegie Mellon win so that they can set up a roaring academic bowl to finish this season, take on Carnegie Mellon perhaps with the PAC title on the line, with a playoff bid on the line. But right now, W&J leading 7-0 with about 6 minutes left to go in the first half. Munyaradzi Mangwende helped onto the stretcher. He is standing up at the moment. They are sitting him down now. It does appear to be that left wrist that they're stabilizing. At least his left side, which you see is in a cast and being held stable by Jessica White and her team. And the paramedics doing a terrific job, and Bethany on a knee as they watch Mangwende. Hope for all the best for the sophomore from Baltimore, Maryland. Let's see what the Spartans do defensively with him out. Looks like Kevin Chrisis will take over at the matchup corner spot on the far side. As Carlin Bison gets ready to start the offense again. They will not resume play until that stretcher is clear of the area. But they are still stabilizing Mangwende. The line judge, Marshall Gross, overseeing the proceedings to make sure that it is safe and that Mangwende and the paramedics are out of harm's way. You hate to have something like this put a damper on what is a fun day on the Case campus, homecoming day. They'll have the Spartan Club Hall of Fame inductions later on in the night. That is always a treat. At halftime, they will be honoring the 6 newest inductees into the Hall of Fame at midfield. We will show you all of those proceedings and all of that celebration at the break.
Guess it's just one of the unfortunate realities of football, Andrew. You know, this is a pretty brutal sport to play in, and you know, unfortunately, it has to happen on a beautiful, gorgeous day like this. But you know, that's kind of the world that we live in right now with the way that this sport is and the direction that we're going. And it's just really unfortunate to see, and a guy that the Spartans really love to have, and a guy who has contributed, you know, to his position as a backup role-playing corner. And a solid guy in special teams in the return game as well.
He waves to the fans and to his teammates as he exits on the stretcher. The one takeaway you can really have in the positive is that it does appear to be an arm injury, and while that's never fun and you don't know how long he'll be out, in this game, as you mentioned, Eddie, it could always be worse. Carlin Bison back behind center. 17-0 Spartans. The give is to Wright. Off the edge on the left side, and he has the first down on a pretty good gainer. Stepped out at the 25-yard line.
And I tell you what, Raekwon White coming into today's game averaging over 5 yards a carry, so they're going to try to get the ball to him in the ground game as much as they can and just feed it to him. Hopefully he'll be able to, you know, break forward for them, but you know, Raekwon White definitely been involved in a lot of different plays here, but they're hoping that the ground game will really be his bread and butter, not just today, but for the rest of the season also.
He's a Baltimore guy as well. 5'10 sophomore last year in an all-PAC honorable mention selection. Bison pressured by Brown, tosses it out, incomplete, right through the hands of Jacob Quinn, the junior tight end from Byesville, Ohio. 2nd down and 10.
Yeah, just a couple too many drops from the Bison receivers here today, including the tight ends, and definitely not doing too many favors for Carlin Bison. But, I mean, as a young sophomore quarterback, you know, he has done his job. I mean, he avoided the pressure there, got off a timely, accurate throw while on the move. Not much more you can ask for from a young sophomore quarterback being inserted into the lineup for presumably another Bethany injury to the starting quarterback.
2nd and 10 from the 25-yard line. This is Bison on the keeper. Off right guard, slips through and gets near the first down. Looks like he has it. First down run for Carlin Bison.
Yeah, and on many of these Carlin Bison runs, I think that first cutback really has hurt the Spartans. When he changes direction and gets a whole new line of vision right there, that really has taken his rushing performance to the next level. So he has really done well on the ground, giving Bethany something of a dual threat between Bison as well as Raekwon Wright.
Hunter Klein and Byron Mayers check in. A 3-wide set. Sweep to right again. And he is tripped up after a short gain. Zach Lyon comes in for the tackle. Update on that Carnegie Mellon Washington Jefferson game, now 14-0 W&J. The first score on a 55-yard pass to Cody Hurst, and the second a 51-yard interception return by Nick Murgo. So not going the way the Spartans would hope. But they're leading their game. They're doing all they can do. 17-0 over Bethany. Bison on the toss to right. Off the edge. Bumped out of bounds by Crossy. Setting up third down and manageable. It'll be third and about 5 to go with the ball spotted at the 40.
Yeah, that's one of those little outside of the box plays that you can draw up for a guy like Raekwon Wright, and definitely love to have the option to either keep it with Bison or pitch it to a guy like Wright. That's one of those plays where you have to really read what the defense is doing. And he did there, and it turned into a couple extra yardages. But really, for the most part, the Spartans have done pretty well on first and second down, forcing these pressure third down in situations where the crowd gets really noisy.
The wind at the Bison's back, and the throw behind the intended target, incomplete. Abe Lyles was the intended man, and he was begging for a flag. Thought he got tugged on the play, but Bason's pass uncatchable anyway, well behind him, and it's fourth down.
Yeah, that was really one of the rare throws that Carlin Bison made that really wasn't on the money that time, but punting unit comes onto the field. Spartans forcing another punting situation, only allowing the opponents to convert on third down 20% of the time, a staggering number.
Anthony Fiasco on the punt. Takes a good bounce for Bethany, but they cannot down it. Oh, that was quite the effort. Running toward the goal line by, looked like Dustin Hess. He just could not get it.
Well, I think that was a result of the wind being in the Bison's favor right there. You know, you just automatically assume that whenever you're kicking with the wind blowing at your back, you automatically assume, well, this is going to get us deep into territory. But I guess the problem is it can continue to bounce in that direction, and that actually helped the Spartans out that time.
So Case takes over, 7:57 to go in the half, leading 17-0. This is Anthony in the backfield with 3 wide. Fumbled by Anthony, and the Bison think they've fallen on it. It certainly looked like they did. Bethany has the football. A costly turnover. It was Kuda who fumbled the snap. Anthony couldn't grab it.
You know, and originally on the first glance, it just looked like a bad exchange between Kuda and Miles Anthony. But you know, looking at the replay, I'm not sure if the snap was the greatest from Gage Blair either. So it gave Rob Kuda a little bit of a difficult time on the transfer over to Miles Anthony, resulting in a rare Spartans turnover. And, you know, Andrew, they came into today, the Spartans did, with a neutral turnover margin. And now with that one there, they're going to actually be -1, I believe, or no, +0. From what we have. So they're still neutral there, but you know, definitely a margin the Spartans would like to improve on with this record that they have.
That's their 4th fumble lost. Colin Johnston fell on it, and that pass in the flat, too tall for Wright. Ball spotted at the 18-yard line, so great position for Bethany. But that pass in the flat, a little high from Bison. That's 2 in a row that he's had off target.
Yeah, and I don't think that their starting field position is really going to get much better than this. So, you know, if you're Bethany and you're inside the 20 starting with the football in this drive, I mean, you have to be thinking touchdown. I mean, anything less than a touchdown is probably not going to get them to where they want to be back in this game. And obviously the Spartans are thinking, just force them to settle for 3, and we will have done our job considering where the ball was spotted after the fumble.
This is a side that's struggled to score. Bison to right. Good coverage from Chris's incomplete. They've been outscored this year. Coming into today, 183 to 67. So updated totals make it 200 to 67. Like you said, Eddie, doesn't get much better field position-wise than this. They're taking shots at the end zone, though, and coming up empty. 3rd and 10 from the 18. A couple new men check in. This is Darius Taylor and Abe Lyles. It'll be Lyles on the far side with Eddie Wincoop. On the near side, Taylor is set up along with Nijal Rogers. Bison steps up, looking for somebody. Now he'll tuck and run. He won't get the yard to gain. Has to get it out to the 9. He gets to the 11, so 4th and short. If you're Bethany, do you take the points or do you go for it? They will go for it.
Yeah, and I'm just not sure that 3 points is really going to do you a whole lot of good against a team that has last year's UAA MVP and so many weapons on the offensive side. So I think it's not really a question here. But look at this. It looks like they're going to settle for a field goal.
So a last-second decision to kick the field goal for Bethany. It's 4th and about 2.5. So they will kick it, and it is through the uprights, courtesy of Chris Ray. His first successful field goal kicked this year. He's now 1 for 3, and the Bison on the board. Case Western Reserve University with a 17-3 lead. 7:09 to go in the first half.
Inova Living is a modern, amenity-rich residential community located in Cleveland's Greater University Circle neighborhood, offering studio, 1- and 2-bedroom apartment homes. Enjoy all-inclusive living with convenient on-site shopping, 24-hour concierge services, a 24-hour fitness center, resident lounge, and more. All within close proximity to Case Western Reserve University. Inova Living online at inovaliving.com.
(17-3) Spartans on top. It was a cough up at the 18-yard line by Rob Kuda and Miles Anthony on a botched snap and handoff that gave Bethany good field position, but they settle for the short field goal by Chris Ray. Now Ray will kick it off. It's a 2-bouncer. It dies before Calhoun can pick it up. And now he rumbles forward to the 24-yard line before he's upended. Lee Sanders was there.
Special thank you goes out to all of the Case Western Reserve Spartan sponsors, including the International Hotel, located just minutes away from Case Western Reserve's campus. For more details, visit ichotelsgroup.com or call 1-800-IC-HOTELS.
Chris Ray's field goal, 27 yards. A 4-play drive ending in a field goal. 7:04 to go in the first half. This is Kuda. Out to Fan in the flat. Fan wrestled down. It was not easy, but he eventually does go down.
See, and with the athleticism that Fan brings to the game, I mean, if he got a DB that's within a yard or so on him, he's not going to be able to escape the tackle. He's just not big enough. You got to get him a little bit more space. You need to get him the ball away from his defensive assignment early on in the route, but that time, defensive back just too close.
2nd down and 5 from the 29. Kuda steps up, dumps it out to Aguilar. He got 1 or 2. Aguilar has been a very interesting passing option, Eddie, out of the backfield. Last year, he was a short yardage back. They would hand the ball off to him, but this year hasn't carried the ball, but he's been a good passing option out of the fullback spot.
Well, I'll tell you what, and offensive coordinator Derek Slesh is going to find a job for you. You know, if you're on the field, he's going to utilize you in a proper position. That just takes your offense to a whole nother level when you have a fullback that can catch passes.
On 3rd and 2, Burke converts out to the 39-yard line.
Boy, and Andrew, how many times when the Spartans need, 2 yards, 3 yards, does Jacob Burke give them, 7 yards, 8 yards? It just seems like the yards come in success when it's 3rd down and short for Burke.
Short gainer there.
Just continue to be so impressed with the durability of Jacob Burke. A season ago, despite the success that he had, there were periods of time where Burke would have to come to the bench to get a breather here and there, but that really has not been the case this year. He's a guy that has worked hard to be able to carry the ball 25, 30 or more times a game should the Spartans need it from him.
2nd and long from the 39. Kuda looking for Fan, 1 step too far. Very nearly had Fan in stride, but Baker Benier in coverage and the pass too long.
Well, I tell you what, and Fan, beat his defensive back again, and if you give Kuda a couple of these, one of these is bound to just explode into the secondary, but Kuda just leading Justin Fan a little bit too much there, but Kuda's deep ball has looked good, and then again, into the wind, you can see it whistling in the wind right there. Tough throw for Rob Kuda to get off, but he did it.
Kuda on 3rd and 10, rolls out, now looking deep, trying to avoid pressure. He's creating space for himself, throws it over to Medved, through his hands, incomplete, and it's 4th down.
Boy, I think that nobody would like to have this ball more than Medved right after this play. I mean, Rob Kuda did so much labor to try to extend this play, rolling to the left side of the field, rolling to the right side of the field. You see him directing traffic there just a second ago. That's a lot of a labor of love that Kuda had to go through just to get the opportunity to get the ball to Medved right there, but just a dropped situation by Medved, and the Spartans unfortunately can't get the job done.
Bethany is going to really rush after Quinn Salwan, so Spartans will tighten up. Salwan gets it away to Raekwon Wright. Ball twisting in the wind. He fields it at the 21. Shifts around to tackle, rolling out to the right. Gets around one-arm tackle and runs himself out at the 25-yard line. Well, Bethany wearing the pink decals on their helmets today, and some of the players also wearing pink socks and pink armbands, all sorts of accoutrement in pink today for the Bison. And that is because it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. We were talking earlier today, Eddy, with the head coach of the Bison, Bill Garvey, and he was saying that they not only do this for Breast Cancer Awareness Month, but they make a point every year to switch up their helmet decals about 3 or 4 times per year.
Yeah, I thought that's a pretty neat little thing that the Bison have going on. Definitely a fun sight to see when the players are wearing different logos and different things on their uniforms.
Raekwon Wright runs it up the middle. Taken down by Crossy. Must be a lot of fun for the players in this program. Every once in a while you feel like, especially at the D3 level, maybe wearing the same uniform over and over can get a little stale. He was saying, at the D1 level, these guys get a new helmet every week.
That's
so
right.
Why can't we do something?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the guys will retire their previously worn decals by wearing them on their equipment bags, or for some of the guys on their padding on their backs, that lower back pad. We saw a few of those guys in warm-ups with that. Bison tosses it out, and that'll be good for the 1st down, picked up by Jacob Quinn, the tight end.
Timely throw by Carlin Bison on the move, and, anytime when you are going against the speed of your own self, throwing across your body, that definitely tends to take a hit on the accuracy of most throws, especially by a young quarterback. But, not that time. I mean, for the most part, Carlin Bison has been very good in the accuracy department. It's just the receivers that have been trying to help him out a little bit more lately.
1st and 10 from the 39. 3.5 minutes to go in the half. On the option, it is kept by Bison, but McMahon takes him down, maybe at the line of scrimmage, or a half-yard gain. 2nd and 9. They'll spot it at the 40.
Not a whole lot of options available on that option play, so the Spartans front 7 I mean, they're really well equipped to be able to combat a mobile quarterback and a kind of an option scheme. Just too many great athletes on this front seven for the Spartans. They got speed, size, strength, all the tools to be able to combat the option play.
So 2nd and 9, high snap. Bison will get it. He'll run it out to the left and ends up making something of nothing. Gets close to the first down marker. It'll be 3rd and short, depending on the spot. They're going to spot them 1 yard shy, about 1.5 yards shy, inside the 48. They have to get to the 49, 3rd and 1.
And Andrew, I think the most impressive thing that I have seen from Carlin Bison, just a desire to move the chains. I mean, he has really taken this game with a lot of passion. He has directed traffic. He's pointing signals, telling guys to move in certain directions. I mean, this guy is really willing his team with every yard that they get, and he's going to need some here to pick up a long 3rd and 1.
Timeout called by Bethany. 1:53 to go in the half. Spartans up 17-3. Remember to stick around at halftime. It is homecoming, which means they will honor the 6 new inductees to the Spartan Club Hall of Fame. The banquet will be later on tonight. And the Hall of Fame inductees this year include a couple of football players. First, it includes the football player and track athlete David Kelveg, one of the best wide receivers in program history, a 2005 graduate. Former men's basketball player Carson Oren of 06. Swimmer Meredith Stakem of 03. Football and baseball player Ed Trebitz, who's a 93 grad. Track and field athlete Jack Larimer, who is from 63. And the big one, Eddy, in the special category inductee, Dr. Cy Ostrak, who unfortunately we lost earlier this week at the age of 93. And a fascinating story with Dr. Ostrak. He was an integral part of the wrestling program here for years and years. And beyond that, he came to Case because he was one of the superstars of modern aeronautics, part of the Aircraft Engines Research Laboratory here at Case, as Wright is taken down. He is the Wilbert Austin Distinguished Professor Emeritus of Engineering at Case and the former director of the National Center for Space Exploration Research. So unfortunately, Dr. Ostrak was lost earlier this week. On Monday afternoon, he actually called the department, the athletic department, to confirm his arrangements to get here. But sadly, we lost him earlier this week. But a big thank you to Dr. Ostrak for his scientific contributions and for all he did with the wrestling program this year. You'll hear more about Dr. Ostrak at halftime, and we'll make sure to mention him more throughout the second half as well. 4th down attempt by Bethany. The Spartans think that they have stopped the Bison. Let's take a look. It's going to be a close spot.
I think everything is going to depend on the spot. Going to be awful close no matter what.
Bison looked like you ran into his own man there, and they will bring out the chain gang. Tough to tell from that last angle. It looked like you ran into his left guard, Brandon Sibley, the freshman from McKinney, Texas. They'll bring out the chains. 1:03 to go in the first half, and Bethany trying to inch a little bit closer. They can make this a ball game if they get into the end zone here. Make it a one-score game, but all depends on the spot. And it is short. Short by inches. The Spartans get the stop with a little help from Brandon Sibley.
Yeah, that was my gut feeling right there. It looked like the first down marker clearly spotted right at the 49-yard line, and I thought that football came down right at about the 48.5. So I think that's a pretty good spot, pretty accurate and on the nose there. And the Spartans get the ball back, so now they can extend this lead with 63 ticks left on the clock.
Kuda in the shotgun with 4 wide. Burke the lone man in the backfield as they spot it on the 48. Burke will drop back. Kuda drops back, looks over the middle. He has Zach Hurd, twists off a tackle inside the 20. Zach Hurd has been a terrific deep threat so far, third in D3 in yards per catch coming into today's ball game. 1st and 10 from the 18, 55 on the clock. 4 wide again. Kuda gives to Burke. Slips up the middle, under the line for about 1. Now 40 seconds showing on the clock. And a timeout.
Got the trainers onto the field again, so sounded like an injury timeout. Looks like one of the Spartans' offensive linemen.
It is indeed. It's Derek Klontz, the left tackle, walking off slowly. The Spartans have 1 timeout remaining. 38 seconds to go in the first half. An opportunity to build on this lead, and they are in a position where, at the very least, they're in Ben Carniol's range. He kicked a 30-yarder earlier today. His career long is 36 yards. And the ball's on the 17-yard line.
And Andrew, now I think you're kind of in a totally different situation with the success of Carniol. I mean, assuming that you don't get too much closer to the end zone, which I would imagine the Spartans probably would with 38 seconds. But if you don't, Carniol only had 1 missed PAT. It was on a block and made the only field goal attempt he's had all year. So now that gives the Spartans something to think about.
And they definitely trust him in this range. 4 wide, Burke the lone man in the backfield. Kuda drops back. He has pressure. He rolls out to the right. Looking end zone, and on the comeback route, incomplete. Looking for Hurd, broken up by Keandre Murphy, but 2 flags are down right around where Kuda was rolling. Let's see what Kenny Jansen, the referee, has to say. It is a hold on the Spartans, and that will adversely affect Case's chance to go for a field goal here. You're talking about a team that does not get penalized often. They've very rarely been penalized today. It's been a pretty clean game to this point. Case coming into today 12th in Division III, the 12th least penalized team in the country and the least penalized team in the conference.
Yeah, and only 17 total penalties at this point in the season. That's a pretty astonishing amount.
Kuda looks for Fan, dives, incomplete. My goodness, that would have been a sensational grab.
Well, as good as it is that Fan is a little guy and it's hard to get a hand on him, I think right about here, had he had another couple inches to his height, that could have been an insane diving catch there by Justin Fan. I mean, he gave it his all, so you have to give him a lot of credit there. And a perfect throw by Kuda, just throwing it right on the dot, but just a tad bit short by an electrifying wide receiver.
It was Fan last year who had maybe the play of the year in all of Division III football. He almost had another nomination. 3rd and 19. Kuda dropping back again. Going left for Spitali. He's got him and he runs out of bounds. It's not enough for the first down. It'll bring up 4th. But 4th and short with 19 seconds left, and with Spitali going out of bounds, the Spartans have a pretty good opportunity. Well, they will give them enough for the first down. First down and goal from the 8. They initially put up 4th. It's now 1st and goal with 19 seconds remaining. A little bit of confusion on the near side between Spitali and Fan. Kuda drops back. Looking left corner and throws incomplete. Looking for Fan. They weren't on the same page.
Well, they decide to spread things out, being 8 yards away from the end zone, and that's going to cause the defense to react right there. Everybody retreats to the back of the end zone, and it results in 1 stop for Bethany. But their problem is they're probably going to have to do this at least 2 more times, not just because it's 2nd down, but because you got 14 seconds left on the clock.
Kuda again. Looks left corner, jump ball, juggled, incomplete. Good coverage again. Colton Morgan was the intended receiver. Lee Sanders breaks it up.
Boy, the fans definitely not liking this call, but I think the question is, did he have it all the way through? Does it juggle at any point during that play? And to be honest, Andrew, I'm not sure if it did. It didn't really look like he juggled it much to me. 2 feet were clearly in. Just did he come down with it while he was in the end zone? I think that's the question.
Another chance. Kuda on 3rd down. Too far for Morgan, incomplete. 6 seconds showing on the halftime clock, and on 4th down, this seems like a pretty clear field goal situation. Ben Carniol and company will come out. Tough call on that previous pass. Side judge Jim Phillips was right on it, but they deem that Morgan didn't have full possession. So the Spartans will try to make it a 20-3 lead. The hold by Spitali, the kick by Carniol. And that is his 2nd field goal of the afternoon. And zeros showing on the clock give the Spartans a 20-3 lead at the break. So Case undefeated at 4-0, 3-0 in the PAC. And they lead after the first 2 periods of football on homecoming.